Hey everyone, JT here from the No Code Founders community. In this video, I'm looking at NordPass, which is a digital password manager from the team that brought us NordVPN. So it has security at the heart and it's business focused as well as having personal plans. In this video, I'm going to be looking at the admin panel and the various features that you have as the owner of the business on how you can keep your business secure. So let's jump into the admin panel and have a look. So here we are in the admin panel, which gives us a high-level overview of the entire organization. We have members at the top, we have a data breach scanner, which we'll go into in a second, and then we have password health of the entire organization. The members section shows us active members, pending members who have been sent invites but not joined yet, and then suspended members. We can go to view all members by clicking this section at the side, or we can also have a shortcut to either of these lists very quickly. We're now in the members section viewing pending members. For pending members, we can reject them completely or we can resend invitations. We can also view any members who've been suspended. If a member has lost their login details, we can send recovery codes and view those members here. And then we also have deleted members. If we look at active members and go into just the one member that I have at the moment, which is myself, we can see their email address, their role, which is their admin role, and the settings, which are their language settings, and then also any groups that they're a part of. In this case, I'm a part of these 4 groups. We can add to additional groups, we can create new groups from here, and we can remove the member from a group in this way as well. We can also invite members in 3 different ways. The first one is that we can add their email address, and we can do this for multiple people at the same time. The second way is that we might want to have a simpler way to have all members of our organization being able to join with just one click. So for that, we can use an invite link. An invite link is a unique link that they can click, and that will take them through to join the organization. What we do is we add trusted domains, so these would be your organization domains, and any email address from that domain will be automatically authorized when they click the invite link. So this allows you to invite new members and onboard members into the password manager very quickly. The third option is that if you have a list of email addresses and you want to invite people in bulk, you can upload a CSV or text file and import those members en masse. So that's the member directory. The next thing that we have is groups. So groups are very important because that allows us to share passwords in the password manager with these groups. So rather than sharing passwords with members individually, we can create groups for specific purposes and share passwords with a group in one go. So say we have a marketing team, we can share all our marketing passwords, which might be our social media tools, email marketing tools, advertising services, and we can share those with a group in one go rather than sharing it with each member of that team individually. What that also means is that when a member leaves that team or moves to a different team, we can remove them from that group and you don't have to go through a lot of admin with changing their permissions. So it's really useful for onboarding and offboarding. If we go into a specific group, we can see all the members within that group. We can add more members by searching here. And then we can also create new groups. So let's say we want to add a legal team. We can create groups very simply and then add members very quickly in this way. Next up, we have the activity log. So the activity log is a log of everything that's happened in NordPass. That means from an admin perspective, so any changes to the settings and also anything that's happened in the password manager itself across the entire organization. So that can be people creating passwords, looking at passwords, everything. We can see here there's been new activity logged, which isn't showing us yet. We can see that 2 items were shared with marketing. Password was edited, which was Notion. I removed access to password for the sales team. It goes through everything. You can also see all the passwords that have been viewed and exactly who viewed it. You can filter for specific time frames and then filter for specific members, which means that if you do have a suspicion that there's a rogue employee who's checking things that they shouldn't be, you can see exactly what's happened here by going back into the logs. Next up, we have the settings. So these are the company-wide settings which you're going to be implementing across your entire organization. And this is what's going to apply to every member's password manager. So the first few settings we have are to do with access management. So at the top, we have single sign-on. So if you're using a service like Google Workspace, you can toggle this on and allow members to log in with their Google Workspace accounts rather than with a NordPass login, which makes the sign-up process even easier. They don't have to create a separate password. And it's also worth mentioning on the enterprise plan, you have the option to use other single sign-on options such as Microsoft authentication and Okta authentication, amongst others. Next up, we have the option to have multi-factor authentication. So if you want to have another layer of security for people logging in to NordPass, you can use an external authenticator as another layer of authentication to access the NordPass app. Finally, we have the auto lock feature. This is the period of device inactivity after which the member's vaults are going to lock, so that you can have that anything from 5 minutes up to never, depending on how security conscious you are. Next up, we have security features. So the first thing we have is the password policy. Now, the password policy we can enable or disable, but if we have it enabled, we can set a minimum number of characters for the password. We can decide whether uppercase letters are required or not, whether digits are required, and whether any special characters are required. We can also set the number of days after which the passwords need to be changed. So if you want your passwords to be updated and refreshed on a consistent basis, you can set that here from anything from 30 days to 180 days. Why this is so important is that members within the password manager are going to, when they create passwords, are going to be prompted to create passwords that are in line with the password policy. When they're not in line with the password policy, they're going to be shown as weak passwords, and you as the admin of the business will be able to see these here, the weak passwords. Old passwords, so these are passwords that are out with your update period. You can also see reused passwords, so passwords that are being used for more than one login. And then you've got the total here, which is your vulnerable passwords. We're able to go into these individually and see exactly who has the weak passwords, the reused passwords, and the old passwords, and reach out to them and ask them to update accordingly. So that's how the password policy works. We then have two options for being able to share the passwords with other people. So the first thing is that you can allow members to share passwords with people outside your organization. So this is useful if you want to allow members to share passwords with freelancers, for example. And then the third option here is item exporting, which allows your members to export passwords as a CSV file. Finally, at the bottom, we have two additional features. The first one is to use NordPass as an authenticator. So if you use any authenticator apps for two-factor authentication within your organization, such as Google Authenticator or Authy, you can instead use NordPass as an authenticator. So NordPass has an authenticator built in, and the advantage of using the NordPass authenticator is that you're able to ensure that everyone in the organization is using the same app, and you only have to check the security of that single app rather than allowing everyone to download their own authenticators and having to check all of those manually. And then also you can apply a two-factor authentication policy, if you like, across your entire organization, and you're able to see who has adapted two-factor authentication and who hasn't adapted two-factor authentication. And you can see that all in one single place by using the NordPass authenticator. The final feature here is the data breach scanner. Now, the data breach scanner is a scanner which will scan your domain, which is your organization domain, and it will check for any data breaches against your email addresses, personal information, logins, payment details. And the way that we do this is that we add our domain. So in this case, nocodefounders.com, we add this, and it gives us an option to verify our domain ownership, which is a DNS record that we will need to update. So we would copy this to our DNS records and save that. And what this is going to do is to check the domain on a consistent basis for any data breaches, and that will alert us here in our data breach scanner. So on the dashboard, we see an overview of everything that's happening with our members. We can see any data breaches that have occurred, and we can go into a report and see a breakdown of this. We can see active members, we can see any resolved breaches, any ignored members, and domain breaches individually. And then we also have the password health, which are all the vulnerable passwords that are not in line with password policy. And we can see an overview of these as well. So that is the admin panel for NordPass. In the next video, I'm going to be looking at the password manager itself and the features that are available to employees and how they can organize their passwords within the password manager. See you in the next one.